Like those other guides, this document has some terrific images, showing off which areas of the car's chassis is comprised of high-strength and ultra-high-strength steel, as well as the aluminum alloy body panels, not to mention a less helpful illustration of the car partially submerged in water in an invisible tank. Besides showing first responders the routing of the high-voltage wiring and other important information for extricating passengers after crashes, the guide also has some hints that could come in handy for owners. For example, pushing and then holding the power button on the dash to the right of the steering wheel for 3 seconds immediately shuts down the high-voltage system controllers, thereby preventing current flow into the cables. It also cuts power to the airbags in the front seatbelt tensioners, though these pyrotechnic devices have up to a 3-minute deactivation time. Good to know, though also be aware that the document suggests making sure the key fob is placed at least 20 feet away from the vehicle to prevent unintended restarting. It also points out, with the diagram, the location of the tow hook, as well as the tie-down slots, in case the unhappy need for it to be placed on a tow truck arises.
Tesla CEO Elon Musk has been promising something special for the many Model 3 reservation holders who waited in line sight unseen to order the new electric vehicle. Deliveries have already started for months now with no sign of the something special, but now we learn that it will reportedly be a miniature die-cast version of the car. When Tesla started taking orders for the Model 3 on March 31, CEO Elon Musk confirmed that unlike Tesla's previous models, there will not be any signature reservation option for the Model 3. With the Model S and X, Tesla opened up 1,000 signature reservation spots per market for a $40,000 deposit, versus $5,000 for a regular reservation. A signature reservation assured that you would get the vehicle sooner than anyone in your market, and you also had the option to choose a special color called Signature Red to make your car stand out. While there were no signature reservations for the Model 3, Musk still promised something special for early reservation holders. It led many people to believe that it would be something to make the vehicle stand out as being one of the earliest ones reserved, but now several reports of Tesla retail employees confirming that it will actually be a miniature die-cast version of the Model 3. That's something that Musk actually mentioned almost 2 years ago. Tesla already sells a 1/18 scale die-cast of the Model S P100D on its website for $210. It's not clear if the Model 3 version will be 1/18 scale, but it will apparently be customizable to look like your specific Model 3 configurations, which only means matching color and wheels right now.
There has been a lot of talk about what the fate of Tesla will be when the big legacy automakers start producing EVs in earnest. With their century of experience and established production lines, they will roll over Tesla. They will show how real car makers take a new model through production. We can actually compare Tesla to a very experienced car maker bringing a comparable electric car to production. This is the Chevy Bolt from GM. Only, in this case, it is not the big experienced car maker with lots of cash that thrashes Tesla, it is the other way around. While still struggling to get production bug-free, Tesla already delivers more electric cars to customers than GM. And it is not because there is no demand for the Bolt. There are tens of thousands prospective Chevy Bolt customers in Canada, South Korea, and Europe, but, unfortunately, GM cannot deliver. In July 2017, at its start of production, Tesla was probably in the same place as GM was in March 2016 when it started Bolt pre-production. The production equipment was installed, the suppliers could deliver the parts, the workers had to be trained, and the equipment configured. It took GM 9 months to deliver the first batch of Bolts to customers, and GM was praised for delivering a great car. It took Tesla about 6 months to deliver the first batch to customers, and the critics had a field day. The talks of failure and broken promises filled the airwaves. Tesla clearly does not have a production scaling problem. It accomplished in 6 months what GM did in 9 months. The Prairie debacle was purely badly managed expectations and a communications problem. Musk took a big risk by calling the start of Model 3 assembly line configuration start of Model 3 production. In the future, Tesla should only create the hype about their products, but stay mute on the timelines.
Honda has signaled its intention to sell majoritarily hybrid, plug-in hybrid, electric and even fuel cell vehicles by 2030. In recent years the company has made several unsuccessful attempts to gain traction in the green vehicle market. Its models were technically interesting but did not attract large numbers of buyers. Now, the company has wiped the slate clean and started over with the Clarity, a mid-size sedan offered in 3 versions, 100% electric, plug-in hybrid and fuel cell. For the moment, only the second of these will be sold in Canada. Honda has concluded, as did Hyundai with its ION IQ, that incorporating different powertrains on 3 more or less identical models, built on the same platform, can reduce costs and speed up the production process. The Clarity is one of the first incarnations of this strategy. When the Honda Clarity was first unveiled, the general reaction was that its shape was a little off-putting. In truth, while it does seem like a bit of an odd duck in photos, the car acquits itself better up close and in the flesh. Imagine an Accord, but made more aerodynamic. Without delving too much into details, several elements of the chassis are designed to maximize airflow and reduce the coefficient of drag, helping reduce fuel and energy consumption. The underbody, for example, features a plate that directs air to the rear. As the vehicle is somewhat hefty overall, Honda engineers had to get creative and come up with effective technical solutions, elegance be damned. In any event, beauty is, as they say, in the eye of the beholder. The interior of the Clarity is spacious, its finishing exemplary. It passes the basic but valid litmus test of making you feel like you're sitting in a much more expensive car. Another eyebrow-raising idea was to have the gears of the automatic transmission be accessible via buttons on this console. You get used to it, but it seems like a solution in search of a problem. On a more positive note, the central armrest opens to reveal a fairly spacious storage space. Over time you do get accustomed to the interior's slightly off-kilter ergonomics. There is one feature that never ceased to aggravate, however. Every time you want to adjust the audio system's volume, you need to go through the touchscreen to get to the right command, since the volume button is, well, non-existent. There is none. Cuss-inducing, for sure. Its shape might be controversial, and its ergonomics might be irritating, but the Honda Clarity plug-in hybrid does feature virtually irreproachable mechanics, easily among the most sophisticated in the category. For starters, it runs on a 1.5L Atkinson cycle combustion engine generating 103 horsepower, complemented by a 181 horsepower electric motor. Total output is 212 horsepower. Now, I'm pretty lame in math and all, but if I count that on my fingers, 103 plus 181 should equal 284 horses. The difference here is due mainly to the interaction of the two motors, which never make simultaneous use of their maximal power. In some situations the electric motor works at capacity. At other times it's the gasoline engine. And sometimes the two work in conjunction with each other. The CVT-type transmission includes 3 possible drive modes, Eco, Normal and Sport, and in general it helps deliver good acceleration and smooth gear changes. The Clarity also incorporates other advanced systems that serve to manage the power delivered by each engine and regenerate the battery when braking. This last feature can be programmed using the paddles affixed on the steering wheel. Overall, if you put aside the issues of looks and ergonomics, which are after all subjective questions, the Clarity does have many positive qualities. And of course, there are the government incentives offered in 3 provinces: $8,000 in Quebec, $14,000 in Ontario and $5,000 in BC, that provide another solid argument in its favour. These rebates bring the Clarity into near price parity with the top trim Accord.